Are you a Drake friendly?
A Drake friendly or a Drake fan?
Any and all. I need to know what bias you might have going into this conversation.
I like some of Drake's music. I don't like some of Drake's music. I think a lot of his music has gotten not all that great lately. I think he has some great tracks, though. I love If You're Reading This Is Too Late. It's probably my favorite project he's ever done. But I would say, like, a lot of his work, I feel mostly just kind of neutral on. I think it's fine. I think
I
he's
was
fine.
reading, I don't know if this is true. I was reading something about how you guys were DMing, and there was something about a vegan recipe that you posted about, and then he had to have this whole response. And I don't know if it was true. I don't know if this was a you guys sassing each other. Did that thing happen?
Yeah, it happened, and I understand in the age of disinformation and confusion, and also just how outlandish the story is that you might see that and be like, this just seems like completely fake, and it seems like made up. And I mean that is also partially by design. But yeah, I mean, a long story short, one evening he messaged me and hurled a few insults my way that were very cute because they incorporated my scoring system for my reviews, which inadvertently was very flattering because it's like, oh, okay, like you actually pay attention.
That's right.
It's from another insult that he hurled my way or another jab that he had. It seems at some point someone relayed information to him, or he Googled himself, maybe Chat GPT'd, who knows, information on the race of my partner at the time, which, I thought was some very interesting sleuthing that he was doing. But yes, he did that. I thought it was pretty funny. I was showing some friends. I was kind of like, this is pretty nuts. It'd be funny to make a video about this, but it would be bad form to sort of just like go on the internet and be like, Drake messaged me. I'm posting the DMs, da 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 da. And keep in mind, again, at this point where this initially happened, this is all just sort of a completely private thing. Nobody knew about this interaction other than me and him and a handful of friends and my editor, who I had told immediately after, just being like, screenshotting it, not responding, did not respond to anything that he said, just sending a few people the screenshots and saying, look at this. And, a lot of questions being like, is this real? Are you fucking with me? What,
Right.
like, did this man's messaging you in the middle of the night to insult you? Like, what's going on here? So my content brain started turning and I was like, I got to make a video about this. But what's the best way to do it? I don't want to share the DMs because I feel like that's kind of trashy. And simultaneously just coming on to brag or boast about how Drake messaged me and just making a big sort of to do about it would be, I think, also kind of like silly and desperate and just kind of give him maybe what he wants. I feel like on some level he maybe messaged me initially thinking like, oh, I'll message this guy, I'll insult him, and then he'll maybe like crash out or go crazy and start flipping out at the fact that I'm insulting him on the internet and it'll look stupid or something. He's clearly like paying attention to what I was doing. So I thought maybe on some level, if I did make a video about it, he would see it even if I didn't sort of like respond immediately and say, okay, hey, uh, fuck you, I made a video, here's the video, da 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 da. It's like, okay, this
Right.
guy's paying attention. If I say something about it publicly, he's probably going to catch wind of it.
Right.
So I got together with my editor and I said, I want to do a video. Drake DM'd me, all about how Drake DM'd me and tell the whole sort of like preamble and everything. But when we go to the DMs and we go to tell what Drake said to me, I want it to be totally fake. I want it to be completely made up, and I want it to be such an outlandish, silly, made up DM or series of DMs to me that when we eventually cut to that, people will see it and be like, oh, well, he's just trolling us. Trolling my audience, being a little disingenuous in a very dry, silly way is something I've done repeatedly. Like, if you're a longtime viewer of anything that I do, I've done lots of videos where I literally will just come on YouTube and lie. I will come on YouTube and lie just to be very dry and say, maybe I'm a fan of an artist who it would be preposterous for me to be a fan of them, or, make some other kind of ridiculous claim.
Or I saw your Katy Perry video about going to space where you literally didn't really report on anything. You did it
Right.
was brilliant,
Yeah, I
really.
was pretending to be like a newscaster. It was ridiculous. I'll just sort of like act very over the top and silly, or I'll engage in some kind of like, silly commentary that is so dumb and so ridiculous that it's clear that I'm just sort of, being facetious. The story that my editor and I came up with was that Drake messaged me in the middle of the night to send me a vegan cookie recipe he found and was just really in love with. He just thought the vegan cookie recipe was so great that he needed me to have it. We just came together, we fabricated some very sort of friendly, nice DMs from Drake, and we had the whole cookie recipe, and I read out
Okay.
the whole thing. And then I was like, wow, when the video was over, I was like, man, appreciate Drake coming through to message me and send me the cookie recipe. And that's it. It's really cool that he did that. My hardcore fans who saw the video and watched it, I mean, they got the joke immediately. They were like, why would Drake of all people message Anthony a vegan cookie recipe in the middle of the night. It doesn't make any sense. I thought literally what was going to happen, my prediction for the situation was that my hardcore fans would see it. They'd know it was a joke. They would kind of move on, and that Drake would catch wind of this video because, it says Drake DM'd me and I just came out with it and he just messaged me and I didn't respond to him. And maybe he would click on it and just kind of see what I did there.
Right.
And then maybe he would message me back and say, okay, that was kind of funny. Maybe you got me. You baited
Right.
me into clicking on the video and you didn't talk at all about what I said, whatever. And then I thought maybe after that we could just kind of like bury the hatchet and just be chill or whatever, because I don't personally have anything against the guy. I don't like a lot of his music, but it's like, it's not a personal thing. And there's no journalistic integrity with a lot of these people, but like a lot of hip hop music pages on Instagram and on Twitter started posting the video that I did or posting the DMs and being like, Drake messaged Anthony about a vegan cookie recipe. And it's like, okay,
Oh
like how stupid do you
dear.
have to be?
Oh
Like
dear.
you got to be dumb.
I think it was in your Wikipedia. It's like a statement of fact. I'm like, there's so much here, and I feel like
Right.
this is silly and sassy, but I don't know.
Right, exactly. No, I mean, you have 2 brain cells to rub together. In fact, I would say a lot more than 2 brain cells to rub together. Your average person running a music news social media account for Twitter money does not. So they're posting this stuff as if it's like genuine fact, or they're posting it knowing it's a lie and presenting it as if it's truth to their audience and just kind of getting them to react to it for, again, Twitter money. Some of these posts went kind of viral and got a lot of attention and had a lot of people, because of the fashion it was being presented in, people saying, wow, is this like, because the way that the posts were going on, they weren't showing the rest of my video where it apparently made it pretty clear that like this is
Right.
all just a silly gag that I'm doing. But the way it was presented, it really did like kind of catch on in terms of people like really starting to wonder, is this real? What's going on here? And then in the midst of all of that fervor, Drake literally just like posted to his Instagram story with millions of people sort of seeing it, just a literal screenshot of the DMs he sent me with
Oh,
directly underneath it saying like that he was left on red 21 hours ago because I didn't respond.
he's
And
hurt. He's
yeah, and
hurt.
it was just really funny, frankly, because never in a million years would I have guessed he would have done that. I thought before jumping to that possibility, he would at least like message me and just kind of be like, okay, that seems kind of silly. Maybe you should tell people that you were just joking. And I believe on social media, I did. Again, I tried to be as clear as possible in terms of, while also being silly, that this is a joke. I mean, it is sort of like just a big outlandish thing. Um,
Well, look, the
and
way he handled this though is consistent with him wanting to deal with these things in a very public way, and here we are with now a lawsuit.